look at the little table we made. After we had our x and y, we did x, y, and then we did x squared. We filled in all those. And once you do that, you should be able to just look at the widget test score problem, and you should be able to do the same thing to this problem. And the first thing I ask you to do in this homework is to take this data and come up with your y hat line, your regression equation. And I know, I hope you've been working on this, but to make sure, let's see if we can come to an agreement. I honestly don't know because it's been a while since I've worked this. Some of y'all have done this. What did y'all get for your B1 when you did this?
1.318.
So 1.32 or something,
yeah.
somewhere in that? Okay, so if you're doing this on your own, your B1 should be about 1.32, 1.3 something. How about your B0 term, the intercept term?
7.46.
7.46? Okay, so your y hat line was about something close to 7.46 plus 1.32x. All right. Obviously, I want to see work here when you do it, but I was just going to let everybody, in case you're working this on your own, and you want to know if you're getting the right answer, it sounds like about 7.5 for B0, about 1.3 for the slope. So you should be coming up with something close to that. If you can't, come see me. The second thing I ask you to do, once you get that regression equation, y'all know I'm big on interpret and application. So the next thing I ask you to do is to interpret precisely that slope coefficient. And I keep asking you that over and over in class. You'll get really good at that eventually. And then after you do that, I want you to use your regression equation you came up with, plug in a sales, a year of experience, 6 years of experience, and see what your predicted sales for that employee is. So you have to generate the line. Then I want you to be able to discuss it and apply it, if you will. That is a huge part of what I want you to do from this chapter. After that, we get into the more hands-on stuff, actually using a computer to generate Minitab output and do things. And that's what we've spent most time on in this chapter, and that's what we're going to keep working with tonight. The file you need for this is attached to that homework assignment. It's a file with house prices and square footage for each house. You're supposed to run a regression, and maybe we should make sure that we're all on the same page here. You open up that spreadsheet, the Minitab file that's attached to this. It's called home prices or something like that. Anyway, you open that up and you go to run a regression. And when you run your regression in Minitab, you have to pick two things, your response and your predictor. Well, in this particular example, I didn't specifically tell you which was which, but we're trying to relate the size of a house to the price of a house. So which one of these two do you think is going to be your response, your y variable? What is it you're trying to predict or explain? The price of the house. What are you using to explain the price of the house? The size. So when you go to do this in Minitab, the price of the house would be your response. The square footage or size, whatever it's called, will be your x, your predictor. And after you do that, you can then answer these questions. Except for maybe the last one. And actually, Julia has a question about this. The very last one asks about unusual observations. We're going to talk about that tonight. But Julie asked a question about this part B. Once you generate the Minitab output, doing a significance test should be easy because Minitab gives you all the, you don't have to calculate anything, you don't have to look anything up. But Julia asked, do you want all 7 steps or can we just tell you essentially whether it's, and I don't know, I'm at war with inside over the answer to that. I think you, at the least, you need HO and HA, your test statistic, your p-value, and your results. Now remember when you're doing, and in my mind, even though you're just doing some of those steps, you're really doing all 7 steps. What question are we asking about house price and house size?
Is there a relation
is there a relationship between the size of the house and the price? I mean, that's underlying this whole thing. That's step one. Step two, I do think HO and HA are important, because you're gonna tell me at some point whether you reject HO or not, right? But if you don't have an HO written down, that's kind of silly, saying I've rejected HO, but you don't have an HO. So I do think HO and HA are important. But remember, when you're doing a test for a regression model, your HO and HA is always the exact same HO and HA. If I'm testing for the effect of house size on house price, my HO and HA would be that beta 1 equals 0, beta 1 is not equal to 0. That's always my HO and HA for an individual X variable. What is beta 1 again? That is the true slope relating house size to house price. If the true slope relating size and price is 0, what does that mean about the relationship between size and price? There isn't a if the true slope relating house size to house price is 0, that means as your house gets bigger, price doesn't change. If your house gets smaller, price doesn't change. That would mean there is no relationship between size and price. What does it mean if the slope is not 0? There is. So really, this is the question you're asking. No relationship? Yes, there is a relationship. So when it comes to this one, I mean, I don't know exactly how I want you to answer this. You could do all 7 steps and make me happy. But at the least, I would like to see your HO, your HA, your T-stat, your p-value, and your conclusion based off of that p-value. Whether you do all 7 steps numbered, I think we're far enough into this now. We can kind of get away with maybe not doing all 7 steps every time. If we remember that underlying, there are 7 steps, even if we don't write them all down. Yes, Sean?
Is that how we write our HO and HA now?
For regression testing, yeah. Yes, ma'am?
So, you didn't give us a confidence level?
Of course I didn't.
So, I just
Pick
assumed
one.
it was .05.
That
so
sounds good to
it's
me.
always .05?
That sounds good to me. 0.5 works for me here. If you tested it at a different confidence level, that'd be okay too. You can pick your own if you want, but I assume that we're gonna do 0.5. All right,